Good morning, y'all. Well, I've made it to Main Street. Check out this bicycle. It's December 7th, 2024, and they're about to have the MainX24 Parade here in just a few minutes. So I'm down here and I'm meeting up with Ray, and we're going to try to photograph said event. And we're trying to get down here towards the central Maine-ish, so that we get them before they get later on in the parade, where it kind of starts to fizzle out. Maybe we get a little more, what do you call it, a little better emotion from the parade participants, so they're not so tired, you know. But yeah, let's see, there's a lot going on. I'll try to intermingle some B-roll of what all is happening here so you can see it as I talk to you. Almost time for the parade to start. I'm standing in the middle of the road here because people are just wandering around aimlessly. I'll just show you. See, this is what you're dealing with. It's just a huge crowd of people. Ray's right there taking my photo. Caught me vlogging. But the whole Main Street is basically cordoned off at this point, and they're all waiting on the parade. Everybody's on the sides of the road and everything. You got to get pictures when you can. Yeah. Oh, look, they're throwing out candy already. Supposedly the parade's coming from this way. We'll see. But yeah. All right, Ray, I'm ready to start.
What time is it? It's right now, yeah.
Yeah, 10:30. All right, the parade has started. Well, you would never understand it until you saw it, but Teresa happens to be down here on Main Street too.
I was just taking a walk, and here comes David.
Yeah. I'm meeting Sierra for lunch down here. There's a restaurant right behind the camera we're going to eat at. It's a little Chinese place.
I parked in her parking lot because I didn't know where to park.
Oh.
So that's where I found
I parked way over on the other end of Russell Avenue, but we have so many pictures of the parade. Me and Ray I probably took 500 photos. It's some kind of crazy amount of pictures. But it was a target-rich environment for street photography, you might say. So we'll see how that comes out. But now let's go eat lunch, and let's go home and see what we can edit out of this and make into a video for you guys to enjoy. So until then, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm back in the studio, and I've went through the photos. They played through during the middle of the video. I played them through fairly quickly because there was just so many of them. And me dialoguing over every single image would have drove you insane. A couple things I want to point out though. I had my camera set up for my usual urban photography settings, and that turned into be a problem. What I wound up having to do was basically think on my feet and change the camera because I was getting blurry photos in those lighting conditions. I was shooting at f8. I like to stop down because I want more of the scene in visible or in focus, whichever way you want to phrase it. Ray was there, and he was shooting with his F1 too, and he was shooting wide open. He likes that look. So, you know, for him, he had plenty of shutter speed. He was freezing everything. But for me at F8, I had the ISO set to auto, and I set it to aperture priority, and I set to F8, and I was just going to let it run the shutter speed just to keep everything, you know, properly exposed. Well, that turned into a problem. I was getting motion blur photos. There's some of the photos where I actually did some pretty decent pan and blur shots. I got to noticing it about 15, 20 minutes in. You know, the first pretty good piece of the parade went by before I really figured out what was going on. And at that point, I decided I wanted my shutter speed to be at least 1/500th of a second, preferably a little faster, but at least that. Then, you know, that should freeze action suitably well. So what I wound up doing was I turned off auto ISO and set it to manual ISO, and then set it to ISO 400, and then left it in aperture priority. And what that done was that made it run the shutter speed between 500 and 1,000, depending on which way I was pointing the camera. If the sun was more in the frame, you know, or the blue sky was kind of overwhelming it or something, it would pull it back. And I also have it set to, on the ZF, you can set it to this exposure mode where it sees the face and it adjusts the exposure so the face is exposed properly. It made a significant difference in the photos. So that was a kind of a handy little feature I have never had before. You know, normally you're just shooting blind and hoping for the best. And, you know, I did adjust a few. I put some images on Instagram. I did a series of landscape orientation shots and a series of portrait orientation shots. And I put those on the gram. And they're playing over the video now so that you can see them as well if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you should. And these were kind of some of my top favorite images. And it was just it was a lot of fun. If you've never done some kind of a dynamic event like that, I was lucky in that Ray has done it before. So I kind of just followed in, you know, he took me under his wing essentially, and we had a good time. We just took photos of stuff. Until next time, I'm going to tell you to get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? This is David, and I'll see you soon. Y'all take care, all right? Bye-bye.